Hello, students. We are continuing in our Chapter 2 notes, which is on human geography, and specifically the elements of culture is what we've been working on. And we are going to be at section 3.4 notes, which is political geography, the element of government. So I am going to read some information here and we'll answer the questions as we go through as usual. So we're looking for a definition of government, and I will begin by reading. How is trash collection related to the protection of free speech? Both are responsibilities of government. A government is an organization that keeps order, sets rules, and provides services for a society. Political geographers study boundaries between different places where different types of government exist and how geography affects government. So we have the answer there. We have a highlighted government there. And so our answer is an organization that keeps order, sets rules, and provides services for a society. Our next heading is government and citizens, and we are looking to define citizen first. So governments govern citizens. A citizen is a person who lives within the territory of a government and is granted certain rights and responsibilities by that government. Governments are either limited or unlimited. A limited government does not have complete control over its citizens. The citizens have some individual rights and responsibilities. An unlimited government has complete control over every aspect of its citizens' lives. So we've got the next three answers here that we're going to include. And that first one is to define citizen, which is highlighted there in yellow. And a citizen is a person who lives within the territory of a government and is granted certain rights and responsibilities by that government. Going to go ahead and give you a moment to type that information. So our number 2 question we also have from that paragraph, the second paragraph actually, and we're going to add a little bit more information than what the text has. And so I'm going to just go ahead and uncover it before I start talking about it. So a limited government is a government that does not have complete control over its citizens. Citizens have some individual rights. And so in a limited government, the power of the leader is restricted. And some examples of this type of government is a democracy, a representative government, and a constitutional monarchy. And we're going to talk about each one of those types of governments moving forward as well. So an unlimited government is going to basically be the opposite. A government has complete control over every aspect of its citizens' lives. And so leaders are all powerful. Some examples are dictatorship and traditional monarchy. And again, we're going to talk about those types of government as we move forward in our notes. And I am going to, again, pause here to make sure that you can type in that information. Okay, I am going to begin our next heading there, which is types of government. And we are looking at information about what a democracy is. So I'm going to read first, and then we'll go back and we'll put in that information. So in the modern world, 5 types of government are common. The major differences among them are in the power and rights that citizens have. In a democracy, citizens elect representatives to govern them. A legislature creates laws, an executive branch carries out laws, and a judicial branch interprets laws. Citizens have many rights, such as those in the Bill of Rights and of the U.S. Constitution. The United States was the first modern country to establish a representative democracy. Now, there is a difference between plain democracy and representative democracy. So we're going to talk about that here. So a democracy is where citizens elect representatives to govern them. And that means that the power is held by the people. So a representative democracy specifically is the one where we elect representatives, right? It's kind of in the name there. It's also called a republic. And this is the type of government we have here in the United States. We have a Congress that we elect, and that Congress makes laws and they make other decisions for us. We elect a president to lead us, right? So a true democracy is different. And a true democracy or a direct democracy is when everybody votes on every issue. You are not going to find a lot of countries that practice direct democracy. People would be at the voting booth every other day if that were the case. We don't have time for that. And that's the whole point behind electing representatives, because that's their job then. They have the time. They are going to look into the things for us. We can contact them, we can email them, we can call them, we can go visit them in person to give them our opinions on things and how things should be run. And those representatives are supposed to take the opinions of the people and then use them to make their decisions in government. But a direct democracy would mean that anything that's going to be done has to be voted on by all of the people. And that's just not really feasible in today's world, okay? So on your notes, A should be representative democracy and B should be direct democracy. And then I'm going to read for the next one. We're looking at monarchy. In a monarchy, a king, queen, or emperor rules society. The ruler usually inherits or is born into the office. Citizens in an absolute monarchy, such as Saudi Arabia, have few or no rights. In a constitutional monarchy, such as the United Kingdom, the queen or king share power with the government organized by a constitution. Okay, so we've got a couple different things that we're going to answer here about monarchy. So the first one is a monarchy is a king or a ruler inherits power. And so this is typically bloodline, right? It's the father and then the son and then the next son, or it could be the brother, so on and so forth. In England, in the United Kingdom, we have Queen Elizabeth. Her son could take over, but it's more likely that her grandson will take over when she is no longer ruling. And then our first blank box here, we're going to type in absolute monarchy. So there's two kinds of monarchies, okay? And so we have the absolute monarchy where citizens have few or no rights. The king rules all aspects. So an absolute monarchy is more traditional. It's what monarchies began out like way back in our history, in the world history, actually. And kings made all the decisions. They were the ones who decided if someone was guilty for something. They decided what the punishment was for something. They decided what taxes would be. They decided everything for the people. And then we have the constitutional monarchy, where the king shares power with the government that's organized by a constitution. So it's in the name, right? Constitutional monarchy. So they have a constitution, which is a plan of government. And they also have representatives. In England, for example, since I already used England as an example, they have a parliament, and the parliament is like a Congress. It's their group of representatives. So the Queen today in a constitutional monarchy really doesn't have a whole lot of power. She's more just like that symbol or that figure of the country. And people, of course, still show her that respect of being the queen. But she does not get to make every single decision for the country. That's what the parliament does. That's organized by a constitution. And then we have a dictatorship. And in a dictatorship, one person, the dictator, rises to power and rules society. The dictator controls all aspects of life, including education and the arts. Citizens have few or no rights. North Korea has been ruled by a dictator for more than half a century. So dictatorship, we've got a couple parts here. We're going to type in information on its own, and then we're going to fill in a blank. And so first of all, this is one person, a dictator, rises to power, rules society, controlling all aspects of life, including education and the arts. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and talk about the next part too, and then just leave that up there for you to look at. So the next part here, we're going to fill in the blanks here, and that is dictators lead by force that limits citizens' freedoms. They usually rely on military power, military to stay in power. So for that second part, dictators lead by force. That's A is force, B is military. So this takes us about halfway through this section. We actually are doing 3.4 and 3.5 together because there's only a couple questions in 3.5. And so this takes us about halfway through the information. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here in case you need to type in any of this other information. But we're still not done with this section quite yet.